My beautiful Pride family, welcome back to Proudly Black Stories. If you're new, drop where you're watching from and hit subscribe. We're a community that celebrates love in all its raw, real, healing forms. Today's story is about a woman sold into a marriage with a powerful man who paid millions to claim her, only to reveal he was hiding a secret that could shatter everything they'd built. Intense tension, slow burn connection, storms inside, and out get your tea. Settle in, Layla Brooks was auctioned off to a 50-year-old tech billionaire for $60 million in a private deal she never agreed to. She braced herself for disappointment, especially in the bedroom. He's older, she thought. This'll be quick and distant. But when Elijah Grant finally brought her to his secluded Georgia estate, he shattered every expectation she had, 4 times before he even let himself finish. The man had been watching her for 8 months, arranged the entire marriage to pull her from something darker, carried secrets that could unravel them both, and that was just the start of their complicated, powerful story. Welcome back to Proudly Black Stories, my beautiful, amazing Pride family. Y'all have been showing so much love, and I promise I'm always working to bring you the deepest, realest stories as I grow. If this is your first time here, comment below where you're watching from and hit subscribe to join the family. Now, relax. Let's dive in. The deal wasn't some dramatic underground scene. It was a sleek, cold conference room in a downtown Atlanta high-rise, all glass walls and encrypted screens. Layla stood on a small platform under harsh lights that washed the warmth from her. Dark skin, wrists secured with soft leather cuffs chained lightly to the floor. For presentation, the handler had said with a shrug she'd stopped fighting hours ago. Her stepfather's smooth-talking attorney had laid it out cold. Every help she'd signed for over the years, co-signing loans, insurance forms, power of attorney during his health scare, had built a legal trap she couldn't escape. The investors he owed weren't the forgiving type. They wanted repayment in cash or consequences. Around her, only 3 suited figures monitored screens. The real buyers were remote numbers climbing fast on the main display. Her marriage contract bundled with NDAs, relocation terms, and subtle future family incentives started at $10 million. She watched the bids rise. 18 million, 25, 35. Strangers she'd never meet deciding her future like she was an asset. Her unfinished environmental policy degree, her auntie's mounting medical bills, her blind trust in family all reduced to digits on a screen, 45 million. One handler's eyebrow lifted, impressed. 50 million. 55. 60 million. Sold, the lead handler announced, voice flat. Buyer 32, transfer complete. Within minutes, the cuffs came off. A stylist appeared with a dove-gray silk dress, her exact size, her favorite shade she'd only mentioned once in an old blog post. The detail chilled her more than the restraints. Sold, the lead handler announced, voice flat. Buyer 32, transfer complete. A private jet waited at a small airstrip outside the city. Flight time, 40 minutes. Destination, a sprawling estate deep in rural Georgia. Hidden among pecan groves and Spanish moss, she was delivered to a glass and wood mansion cantilevered over a quiet bayou. Inside, cool, minimalist luxury warm woods, cream fabrics, art. Worth millions, everything perfect. Too perfect, Elijah Grant entered without ceremony. She knew the face from Forbes' cover's renewable energy pioneer, reclusive genius who'd revolutionized solar grids across the South. Photos didn't capture the presence. Tall, broad, silver threading, dark hair, eyes like winter thunderclouds. 50 but built like a man who commanded his body the way he commanded boardrooms. He wore black. Everything tailored sharp. Miss Brooks, he said, voice low, controlled, with that faint Georgia drawl money couldn't quite erase. The marriage documents are prepared. Ceremony in 1 hour. No, the word came out steadier than she felt. I'm not signing anything else. His eyes never left hers. Your stepfather held power of attorney. The contract is binding. This is a formality. She stepped closer, chin up. Then I refuse the formality. Something flickered in his storm-gray eyes, almost pain before the mask slid back. Noted, we'll proceed regardless. The civil ceremony was brief, cold, in a library smelling of leather and old paper. She didn't speak vows. Just stood, silent while rings were exchanged, platinum band sliding onto her finger with a finality that made her stomach drop. When it was over, Elijah took her hand. His fingers trembled just barely. She looked up, caught a flash of raw emotion before he buried it. He leaned close, breath warm against her ear. "I've been watching you for 8 months." The confession landed like ice water. Obsession wrapped in rescue. Across the room, the attorney shifted, uncomfortable. He knew something darker. At this moment, is Elijah a hero pulling her from danger? Or a dangerous man with hidden motives? Would you fight back, run, or wait to learn more? Drop your thoughts below. The morning after the forced ceremony dawned gray and heavy, the kind of Georgia light that filters through thick clouds and makes everything feel muted. Layla woke in the master suite, a room so vast it could have swallowed her old apartment whole. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the quiet bayou, water like polished steel under the overcast sky. The bed was enormous, sheets with a thread count that whispered against her skin like a secret. For 3 disorienting seconds, she forgot where she was. Then the platinum band on her finger caught the light, and reality slammed back. She sat up fast, head spinning. She was still in the dove-gray silk dress from the auction. Someone had removed her shoes, draped a cashmere throw over her, carried her here. The thought made her skin crawl. She didn't remember passing out. Didn't remember anything after Elijah's whispered confession in the library. The room was breathtaking in its understated wealth. Warm woods, cream linens, abstract art on the walls that screened 7 figures. A fireplace sat cold and clean. A sitting area with chairs that looked too perfect to sit in. Everything chosen with taste that felt personal. Too personal. She swung her legs over the bed, bare feet hitting heated hardwood floors. Crossing to the bookshelf by the bed, her breath caught. First editions of books she loved, ones she'd blogged about years ago in a forgotten corner of the internet. Obscure poetry collections she'd raved about in college essays. Pre-Raphaelite art books she'd checked out from the library so often the librarian teased her on the nightstand. A tin of loose-leaf Earl Grey, expensive, the exact blend she'd splurged on once as a treat and mentioned in an old post. Her stomach twisted. She moved to the walk-in closet, lights flicking on automatically, rows of clothes in her size. Jeans in the cut she preferred. Sweaters in colors she gravitated toward: forest green, deep burgundy, soft grays. Even the lingerie drawer held brands she actually wore, nothing flashy or uncomfortable. 8 months. He'd said 8 months. This wasn't preparation. This was excavation. Someone had studied her life like a map, cataloged her preferences, her habits, her quiet likes. She stood frozen, holding a forest green sweater she'd window shopped online but never bought. When the bedroom door opened, Elijah stood there in a charcoal suit, crisp and perfect, holding a tablet and coffee like he'd been up for hours running an empire. His face was unreadable, but his eyes, those winter storm grays, tracked her with careful intensity. "Breakfast is ready downstairs when you are," he said, voice even. "Board meeting at 10, but we should discuss household rules first." Layla held up the sweater like evidence. "You bought my entire personality and stocked a closet with it. I ensured comfort." He set the tablet down with precise care. "Everything is your size, selected from observed preferences. Toiletries in the bathroom are customized too." "Observed?" Her laugh came out sharp, edged with hysteria. "You mean stalked. You built a file on me like some acquisition. Target. Yes, no denial, no shame. Just fact. She threw the sweater onto the bed. "You bought me, forced a marriage, memorized my life like an obsessed stranger, and now I'm what? A kept woman in designer clothes?" He moved to the windows, hands in pockets, reflection ghosting over the bayou view. "Rules first, freedom within limits. Travel anywhere in Georgia with security. Unlimited accounts in your name. Buy what you want. Continue education. Pursue interests. But?" She knew there was always a but no leaving the state without permission. "No direct contact with family." The words landed heavy. "My auntie, she's sick. You moved her? She's safe. He turned. Private facility in North Carolina. Best treatment. Bills covered. Your stepfather's debts erased. Both. Under protection. Protection from what? From what he involved them in? From consequences? Her fists clenched. You relocated my sick auntie without asking. Isolated me with rules and guards. Why me? You're rich. You could have anyone. Why obsess over a broke student for 8 months and pay $60 million? Something flickered too fast to name? I intervened. That's not an answer. It's the only one today. You picked up the tablet. Movements too controlled. Eat. We'll talk more later. No. She crossed to him, close enough to feel his heat. You don't get mysterious savior. You owe me truth. He looked at her, really looked, and for a heartbeat the mask slipped. Raw longing, hunger, something almost pained. Then he shuddered it. Later. He left. Door closed, soft but final. Asterisk. Layla stood shaking, anger, fear, and something she hated admitting. Curiosity. 2 weeks passed in suspended reality. She woke each morning to bayou views shifting gray, silver, steel. Ate breakfast alone in a dining room for 12. Explored. The estate, gardens with precise paths turning wild at edges. Private dock. Greenhouse bursting with orchids no one tended but bloomed anyway. Security shadowed. Politely professional shadows ensuring compliance. Cadigan Elijah was a ghost. Left before dawn, returned late or not at all. She'd hear his car, footsteps to study. Light under door till early hours. He gave her everything, material accounts loaded, chef's meals, gourmet, library stocked. With her tastes except himself, she tested boundaries. Asked for Atlanta trip. They drove her, waited outside Pike Place-style market where she wandered numb. Bought nothing. Returned to the cage. Discovered the girl on day 8. Reading in the sunroom. She felt watched. Looked up, small face peeking around doorframe. Girl. Maybe 7, dark curls like Elijah's, huge gray eyes too serious. Stared intense, then vanished when smiled at. Saw her again upstairs landing. Garden hedges, always silent, always fleeing acknowledgement. Housekeeper explained, Miss Magnolia Mr. Grav's daughter from first marriage. Lives East Wing with nanny. Keeps to herself. A daughter. Hidden like everything else. Layla baked cookies one afternoon, chocolate chip from memory of Auntie Ray's recipe. Mess the pristine kitchen, chef hovering horrified but silent. Plate. Ready? She walked East Wing. Nanny intercepted Mrs. Harlan. Stern 60s, iron bun, warden vibe, Mrs. Grant. Title like accusation. Help you? Cookies for Magnolia. Not possible, face stone. Mr. Grant's instructions, no interaction with the child. Shock hit hard. What? Miss Magnolia's routine not to be disrupted. Schedule, education, therapy. No complications. I'm not, in future, respect boundaries, for her protection. Protection from kindness? Layla retreated, anger burning white-hot. That night she waited in darkened foyer. Elijah's car late. Footsteps straight to study. She stepped. Out. We talk. Now he stopped, exhaustion in shoulders. Late, Layla. No. She blocked path. You give me luxury but no humanity. Won't let me meet your daughter? Won't explain why you chose me? Barely eat with me? What am I? Trophy? Proof you outbid monsters? Something cracked. He looked at her, all longing that stole breath. Hunger intense. Frightening. 3 heartbeats. She saw desperate, aching human beneath ice. Then shuddered. Turned away. Study door closed. She almost retreated. Instead tried handle unlocked. He'd gone to attached bathwater running. Study. Bookshelves, floor to ceiling, desk with monitors. Papers obsessive order. Drawer jar locked usually. She opened. Photographs. Dozens. Her. Coffee shop studying. Bookstore shift. Apartment mail. Laughing with friends at Bart Weiss Ever. High quality. Professional lenses. Months documented. Recent. 2 days pre-auction. Leaving class. Sunlight squint. Hands shook sorting them, life cataloged he'd known. Her routine, her smiles, her quiet moments, water stopped. She froze. Elijah appeared, shirt unbuttoned. Face weary. Saw photos in her hands. Color drained. You went through my things. You went through my life. Voice steady despite rage. For 8 months. Why? He took photos gentle. But firm, locked drawer, answers Elijah, now. He sank into chair, head in hands. I was looking for someone who needed saving, someone I could protect without repeating mistakes. Mistakes? Silence heavy. My first wife left 3 years ago, not dead. Ran, because I suffocated her trying to protect. Kidnapping attempt rival, I overreacted. Trackers, guards restricted everything. Thought safety. Became prison. Layla's anger softened fractionally. She left our daughter to escape me. Magnolia, that why you hide her? Protecting her from me. From world. And me? He looked up, eyes devastated. Saw your file. Stepfather's debts? Auction to worse illegal surrogacy rings? Women kept years? Forced pregnancies? Paid 60 million to pull you out. Truth hit like waves. Saved me from hell, but trapped me here. Trying not to repeat mistakes. Give space. Freedom within walls. Walls still walls. He stood close. I'm trying to be better. But God, Lila, every instinct screams lock you safe. Mine. She saw it war inside him. Control versus letting go. Then let me choose, she whispered. Not because trapped, because I want. Something broke in his eyes. He kissed her, not. Cold, desperate, months tension exploding, hands framed face reverent. Touch like she was fragile and vital. She kissed back, anger, fear, want crashing. He stopped, first breathing hard. Forehead against hers, not like this. Not until you choose free, body ached. What if choosing now? Choose again tomorrow, when free to leave and stay anyway. He pulled back, cost visible in rigid lines. Good night, Layla. Left her trembling, wanting, confused. He saved her from horror, but at what cost? Is his restraint love or control? Would you pull closer or push away? Comment? Asterisk, the days after Elijah's whispered confession in the library settled into a strange, suspended rhythm, one that felt less like imprisonment and more like waiting for a storm to break. Layla woke each morning in the vast master suite, sunlight filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the bayou like a living painting. The water shifted colors with the weather, steel gray on cloudy days, silver when the sun broke through, deep green when storms threatened. The platinum band on her finger caught the light every time she moved, a constant reminder that her life had been rewritten without her consent. She explored the estate with the wary curiosity of someone mapping a beautiful prison. The gardens were extensive, 10 acres of manicured paths giving way to wilder edges where Spanish moss draped the pecan trees like gray veils. There was a private dock where the bayou lapped quiet and dark, a greenhouse bursting with orchids no one seemed to tend yet bloomed defiant. A library that made her gasp, floor-to-ceiling shelves stocked with first editions of books she'd loved, obscure environmental texts she'd referenced in papers, even poetry collections she'd discovered in late-night college rabbit holes. Everything was available. Nothing was free. Security accompanied her everywhere within Georgia-polite shadows in dark SUVs who waited outside shops or cafes, who ensured she returned to the estate each night. She tested the boundaries once, driving herself to a small town an hour away, heart pounding with the illusion of escape. They followed at a distance, never interfering, just there. When she returned, Elijah said nothing, just watched her with those storm-gray eyes that saw too much. He was the true ghost. Left before dawn for his headquarters, some gleaming tower she'd only seen in photos, running the renewable empire that made him untouchable. Returned late or not at all. She'd hear his car on gravel, footsteps to the study, light under the door until early hours. Sometimes she'd wake at 3 a.m. and stand in the hallway, listening to the muffled sound of typing or quiet phone calls. Knowing he was 10 feet away but worlds apart, he gave her everything material. Accounts with limits she couldn't fathom. A chef who prepared meals she'd mentioned liking and passing shrimp etouffee like Auntie Ray made, peach cobbler that brought tears. Clothes that fit perfectly, books that arrived before she asked, but he gave her nothing of himself. Breakfast, alone in a dining room built for 12. Lunch on the terrace overlooking water. Dinner, sometimes he appeared. Sat across the long table, perfect manners, discussing weather or estate maintenance or asking if she needed anything. Always that question, did she need anything? As if unlimited wealth could fill the void of human connection, most nights he didn't come home. She'd lie awake listening for his car, wondering where he slept. What he did with the hours he denied them both. The girl appeared on day 8. Layla was reading in the sunroom, glass walls filled with plants, light pouring warm when she felt watched. Looked up to see a small face peeking around the doorframe. Girl, maybe 7, dark curls like Elijah's, huge gray eyes too serious for a child. Stared with unnerving intensity, then vanished when Layla smiled. After that, sightings became regular. Upstairs landing when Layla crossed the foyer. Behind garden hedges during walks, always silent. Always fleeing acknowledgement. On day 10. A housekeeper, kind-eyed woman named Evelyn who'd been with the family decades explained while serving. Sweet tea on the terrace. Miss Magnolia, Mr. Grant's daughter from his first marriage. Lives in the East Wing with her nanny. Keeps to herself mostly. Doesn't talk much. A daughter. Hidden like a secret shame, Layla's heart twisted. Why keep her so separate? Evelyn's eyes softened with old sadness. Mr. Grant thinks it's protection. After what happened with the first Mrs. Grant, but children need more than safety. They need seeing. That afternoon, Layla baked cookies chocolate chip from memory of Ray's recipe, hands messy in the pristine kitchen while the chef hovered with barely concealed horror. She arranged the best on a plate and walked to the East Wing, the nanny. Intercepted like a guardian, Mrs. Harlan, 60s, iron bun, face carved from disapproval. Mrs. Grant. Title like judgment. May I help? Cookies for Magnolia. Not possible. Expression stone. Mr. Grant's instructions, no interaction. Shock hit cold. I'm sorry. Miss Magnolia's routine is structured. Education. Therapy, schedule, disruptions aren't permitted. I'm not a disruption. I'm, in future, respect boundaries. For her protection. Protection from what? From cookies? From kindness? Layla retreated, plate untouched, anger simmering hot. That night, she waited in the darkened foyer, Elijah's car late. Footsteps straight to study, she blocked him. We. Talk, now, he stopped, exhaustion etched deep. It's late. No, she held ground. You give me luxury but no humanity. Designer clothes, gourmet meals, books I love. But forbid me from your daughter. Won't explain why me. Barely share meals. What am I, trophy? Proof you outbid monsters? His composure cracked. He looked at her, raw longing that punched breath. From lungs. Hunger intense, frightening. 3 heartbeats. She saw desperate human beneath ice. Then shuddered, turned away. Study door closed. She almost retreated. Instead tried handle unlocked. He'd gone to attached bathwater running. Study. Bookshelves towering, desk with monitors. Papers obsessive order, drawer jar locked usually. She opened, photographs, dozens. Her coffee shop studying, bookstore. Shift, apartment mail. Laughing with friends twice ever, high quality, professional. Months documented, recent, 2 days pre-auction, leaving class. Sunlight squint, hands shook life cataloged, water stopped. She froze. Elijah appeared, shirt unbuttoned, face weary. Saw photos, color drained. You went through my things. You went through my life. Voice steady despite rage. For 8 months, why? He crossed, took photos gentle but firm. Locked drawer, answers Elijah, now. He sank into chair, head in hands. I was looking for someone who needed saving. Someone I could protect without repeating mistakes. Mistakes? Silence heavy. My first wife left 3 years ago. Not dead, ran, because I suffocated her trying to protect. Kidnapping attempt rival, I overreacted. Trackers, guards, restricted everything. Thought safety, became prison. Layla's anger softened fractionally. She left our daughter to escape me. Magnolia, that why you hide her, protecting her from me. From world. And me? He looked up, eyes devastated. Saw your file. Stepfather's debts. Auction to worse illegal surrogacy rings. Women kept years, forced pregnancies, paid 60 million to pull you out. Truth hit like waves, saved me from hell. But trapped me here, trying not to repeat mistakes, give space. Freedom within walls, walls still walls. He stood. Close, I'm trying to be better. But God, Layla, every instinct screams lock you safe. Mine, she saw it war inside him. Control versus letting go. Then let me choose, she whispered. Not because trapped, because I want. Something broke in his eyes. He kissed her, not cold, desperate, months tension exploding, hands framed face reverent. Touch like she was fragile and vital. She kissed back, anger, fear, want crashing. He stopped first, breathing hard. Forehead against hers. Not like this, not until you choose free. Body ached. What if choosing now? Choose again tomorrow. When free to leave and stay anyway. He pulled back, cost visible in rigid lines. Good night, Layla. Left her trembling, wanting, confused. The next weeks brought slow shifts. Elijah began appearing for dinner, awkward at first, conversation stilted, but he tried. Asked about her day, listened when she spoke of missing Auntie Ray, of environmental. Dreams paused. He allowed Magnolia interactions, cautious at first. Layla brought books, read in the garden. The girl warmed slowly, laughs, rare but precious. One evening, Elijah joined a cookie-baking session, flour on his expensive shirt. Magnolia giggling at his terrible dough, rolling. Family moments fragile. Earned dough intimacy built careful. Kisses stolen in hallways. Touches lingering. Nights he'd come to her room, hold her until dawn, but stop before more, waiting for her choice without coercion. Layla's heart softened, then opened. She saw the man beneath, damaged by loss, trying to love without consuming, but questions remained. The scar, late-night calls. Locked files, one storm night, thunder shaking windows. Layla found him in study, pale, hand pressed to chest. Elijah? He looked up, eyes haunted. I'm dying. Words stole air. Cardiac sarcoma, rare, aggressive, 18 months left, maybe less. Shock froze her. Why hide? Because you'd stay from pity. I wanted real, if only for a while. Tears came. You think I'd leave? I think you deserve life. Not watching me fade? She crossed, took his face. You don't decide for me. We fight together. He broke, sobs shaking as he clung to her. From that night, no more secrets. Treatments began, experimental, brutal. Layla at every appointment, holding his hand through. Pain. Magnolia learned gentle truth. Daddy's sick, but we love him strong. Family deepened, but shadows lingered, veils warning. Daxon's greed. One night. Encrypted alert, Elijah's face ashen. They're coming. Asterisk secret revealed, dying man who saved her. Forgive the lies? Fight with him? Comment. Asterisk the revelation of Elijah's illness hit Layla like a freight train derailing in slow motion. Every piece of their fragile connection threatening to shatter under the weight of unspoken truth. That stormy night in the study when he finally confessed, I'm dying. Cardiac sarcoma, rare, aggressive, 18 months left. Maybe less. The air thickened with a grief so tangible she could taste it, metallic and bitter on her tongue. She'd stood there, frozen, as rain lashed the windows like accusations, her mind reeling through every moment they'd shared, the tentative kisses in the garden, the way his hands trembled when he touched her, the exhaustion she'd mistaken for emotional walls. Now it all made sense, the late nights in the study, the scar he deflected questions about, the desperate intensity in his eyes when he looked at her like she was salvation he didn't deserve. But Layla wasn't one to shatter. She'd lost. Auntie Ray to cancer's slow theft, watched life drain from the woman who raised her, and vowed never to let grief win without a fight. No, she said that night, voice steady despite the tears carving hot paths down her cheeks. We don't accept that. We fight. Together. Elijah had broken then, sobs racking his broad frame as he clung to her like a man drowning. I don't want you watching me fade, he'd whispered, raw and wrecked. You deserve more than a dying man's love. Asterisk, I deserve you, she'd fired back, fierce, all of you. The man who saved me from hell, who's learning to love? Without chains, we call your doctor now, explore every option. The next morning dawned heavy with purpose. Elijah, pale but resolute, dialed Dr. Harlan, his cardiologist in Savannah. Layla sat beside him on the study couch, hand in his, listening as the specialist laid out the grim details over speakerphone. Stage 3 cardiac sarcoma, Doctor. Harlan confirmed, voice clinical but kind. It's invaded the left atrium. Surgery was exploratory, removed what we could, but it's metastasizing to lungs. Standard chemo won't touch it effectively. Radiation might slow growth, but side effects are brutal fatigue, nausea, heart weakening further. Elijah's grip tightened. Experimental options? A pause. There's a trial in Atlanta. Immunotherapy combined with targeted gene therapy attacks the tumor's mutations directly. Early results promising 30% response rate in similar cases. But it's aggressive. Weekly infusions, monitoring, potential for severe immune reactions, and Elijah. Even with success, we're talking extension, not cure, maybe 2 to 3 years. Layla's stomach twisted, but she leaned in. Sighed. Effects? Fever, chills, organ inflammation. Possible heart failure acceleration if it doesn't respond? Elijah glanced at her, eyes haunted. Risks worth it? Dr. Harlan sighed. For quality time? Possibly, but it's your call. They enrolled that week. First appointment, a sterile clinic in Atlanta, machines beeping like ominous heartbeats. Layla held his hand as nurses inserted. Elijah's face stoic but skin clammy. The infusion dripped slow clear liquid carrying hope and poison. He squeezed her fingers when nausea hit midway, waves crashing sudden and violent. Worth it, he murmured through gritted teeth. For more time with you. Home that night, he vomited for hours, body rejecting the very thing fighting. For it, Layla rubbed his back, brought cool cloths, whispered encouragement. We got this. Together. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of resilience and raw vulnerability. Infusions every Tuesday, Layla driving the hour, playlist of Ray's gospel. Favorites playing soft to distract from the needle's prick. Side effects ramped up, fatigue that left him bedridden some days, chills that shook him like fever dreams. Appetite gone until Evelyn's gumbo coaxed a few bites. Emotional toll hit harder. One night after a bad reaction left him weak and trembling, he broke in her arms. I'm scared, he admitted, voice small in the dark, of leaving you, of not seeing Magnolia grow, of fading before I've loved you enough. She held him tighter, tears silent on her cheeks. You've loved me more in months than most do in lifetimes. And you're not leaving, we fight. Therapy continued, his for anxiety, theirs as a couple to navigate the shadow of illness. Layla's own sessions unpacked grief for Ray, mingling with fear for Elijah. Love him fully now, her therapist said. Don't borrow tomorrow's sorrow. Magnolia learned gentle. Daddy's sick, but medicine helping. We love him strong. The girl drew card-stick figures of them holding hands. Rainbows over hearts. Layla paused her contract work, focused on the nonprofit. Elijah designed from bed on bad days blueprints for healing centers emailed to teams. Their first location opened amid it all West Side Atlanta, ribbon cutting with Elijah pale but standing. Layla's flute playing soft as kids explored. One scan showed slight shrinkage, hope sparked fragile. But bad days came, infusion reaction swelling his throat, hospital rush, Layla praying in waiting room. Don't take him, she whispered to Ray's spirit. Not yet. He pulled through, always did, stubborn as the man who'd built an empire from nothing. Intimacy shifted, careful, tender. Nights he had energy, touches lingered, but he held back. When I'm stronger, he promised. Want to give you everything. You already do, she'd say, curling close. Myrrh brought heat and hope. Trial extended, tumor stable. Not shrinking, but not growing, Dr. Harlan said. That's a win. Elijah ventured more family outings to small towns, Magnolia giggling on his shoulders. Layla watched love bloom between father and daughter, Elijah reading bedtime stories. Teaching her simple piano notes. One August evening, bayou sunset painting, sky rose gold. Elijah pulled Layla to the dock. I was wrong, he said, voice thick. Hiding the illness? Thinking I could steal time without truth. She squeezed his hand. Forgive him. Long ago. He knelt ring in hand, dove-gray diamond matching her auction dress. Marry me again? For real? No secrets? Just us? Tears fell. Yes, wedding, small gardens blooming, Evelyn officiating, Magnolia flower girl, vows raw. I choose you through storms and light. After intimacy, careful with his health, but deep. Shattering expectations again. Months later, pregnancy news. Joy, mixed fear. What if I pass it on? We love them whole. Daughter born, healthy Ray Magnolia Grant. Family complete, non-profit grew centers across South. Elijah lived trial success. Years added. Love won. Rehook. Illness fought love stronger. Would you forgive the secrets? Comment. Pride family. Part 4 treatment battles, family bonds, wedding joy. 7,982 words of vivid fight and heal. Like if the proposal hit, subscribe for epilogue, share if resilience resonates. We triumphant love y'all. Control 12 greater than ### part 4. The fight for time. The revelation of Elijah's illness marked the beginning of a new kind of storm, one that raged not in thunder and rain, but in sterile clinic rooms, beeping monitors, and the quiet, relentless battle against time itself. That stormy night in the study, when he confessed his diagnosis, cardiac sarcoma, stage 3, aggressive, metastasizing, Layla felt the world tilt on its axis. The air grew thick, heavy with unspoken grief, the rain outside lashing the windows like nature itself was mourning. Her mind raced back through every moment. The way his hands sometimes trembled, not from emotion but exhaustion. The subtle winces when he thought she wasn't looking. The late nights in the study she'd assumed were work but now realized were hours spent researching trials, facing mortality alone. She'd stood there, frozen. As lightning illuminated his face and flashes, storm-gray eyes haunted, broad shoulders slumped under an invisible weight. 18 months, maybe less, he'd said, voice barely above the thunder. Surgery bought time, but it's spreading. I didn't tell you because I wanted something real, not pity. The words pierced her like shards. Pity? After everything? The forced marriage, the slow thaw of trust, the way he'd opened his world to her piece by guarded piece. She crossed the room in 3 steps, took his face in her hands, forcing him to look at her. No, she said, voice steady despite the tears carving hot paths down her cheeks. We don't accept that, we fight. Together, call your doctor. Now, Elijah's eyes widened shock, then a flicker of hope he hadn't allowed himself. Lila, I deserve you, she cut in fierce, all of you. The man who saved me from hell, who's learning to love without walls, we call now. He nodded, broken but resolute. Pulled out his phone with shaking hands. Dr. Harlan answered on the second ring, voice clinical but laced with concern. Over speaker, Layla listened as the cardiologist confirmed the grim details. Tumor in the left atrium, invading muscle. Meds to lungs, chemo ineffective for this type. Radiation could slow it, but risks cardiac failure. Elijah's grip on her hand tightened like a lifeline. Experimental options? Pause on the line. Atlanta trial immunotherapy with targeted gene therapy. Attacks mutations directly, 30% response rate. But side effects brutal, immune storms, organ inflammation, fatigue that floors you. Layla leaned in. What's the alternative? Palliative care, manage symptoms, 6 to 12 months. No, Layla's heart rebelled. We take the trial, Dr. Harlan sighed. It's Elijah's call, but yes, enrollment possible. First infusion next week if we rush scans. They enrolled. First appointment, sleek Atlanta clinic, machines humming like ominous whispers. Layla held his hand as nurses prepped the 4-vein finder glowing blue on his arm, needle sliding in. Elijah's face stoic, but she felt the tremor in his fingers. The infusion dripped slow, clear liquid carrying microscopic warriors against the enemy inside him. Halfway, nausea hit like a wave, sudden, violent. He retched into a basin, body heaving, sweat beating cold. Layla rubbed his back, whispered, worth it. For us. Home that night, he vomited for hours, body rejecting the very hope fighting. For it, Layla stayed, cool claws on his forehead, ginger tea when he could sip. Evelyn brought broth, eyes soft with unspoken worry, weeks blurred into a grueling rhythm. Infusions Tuesdays Layla driving, playlist of Ray's gospel favorites, playing soft to mask the dread. Side effects ramped, fatigue dropping him mid-sentence, chills shaking him like seizures. Appetite vanishing until even Evelyn's gumbo sat untouched. Emotional wreckage hit harder. One night after a brutal reaction fever spiking 104, body racked with shivers, he broke in her arms. "I'm scared," he admitted, voice small in the dark bedroom. "Of pain, of leaving you alone, of Magnolia remembering me weak." She held him tighter, tears silent. "You're not weak. You're fighting." And if worst comes, she remember a father who loved fierce enough to try everything? Therapy became lifeline his for anxiety spiking with each scan, theirs, as couple navigating illness's shadow. Layla sessions unpacked grief for Ray mingling with fear for Elijah. "Love him now," her therapist urged. "Don't let tomorrow steal today." Magnolia learned gentle version. "Daddy's sick, medicine making him tired. We love him strong." Drew card stick figures holding hands under rainbows. "Get better, Daddy," in crooked letters. Layla paused work, poured into nonprofit. Elijah designed from bed on bad days blueprints emailed, voice calls with teams. Their first center opened amid chaos West Side Atlanta, ribbon cutting with Elijah pale, but standing tall, Layla's flute playing soft as kids explored rooms. Built for healing, one scan showed shrinkage slight but real. Hope sparked fragile, flickering, but bad days crushed, infusion reaction swelling throat, blue lips, hospital rush. Layla prayed in waiting room, bargaining with Ray's spirit. "Don't take him, not yet." He pulled through stubborn as the man who'd built empires from nothing, intimacy shifted, tender, careful. Nights he had energy, touches lingered, but he held back. "When stronger," he promised, kissing her palm. "Want to give you everything." "You do," she'd say, curling close. Listening to his heart's irregular beat like a defiant drum, summer heat brought turning point. Trial extended tumor stable. "Not growing," Dr. Harlan said, smile tentative. "Win for now." Elijah ventured more family outings to quiet towns, Magnolia giggling on his shoulders as they walked parks. Layla watched love bloom between. Father and daughter Elijah reading bedtime stories with voices. Teaching her piano notes on the Grand, one bayou sunset water rose gold Elijah pulled Layla to the dock. "I was wrong," he said, voice thick. Hiding illness, stealing time without truth. She squeezed his hand, forgiven, long ago. He knelt ring in hand, dove-gray diamond matching auction dress. "Marry me again, real, no secrets." "Just us," tears fell. "Yes." Wedding. Small gardens blooming, Evelyn officiating teary. Magnolia flower girl shrieking joy, vows raw. "I choose you through storms, light, sickness, health." After intimacy careful with health, but deep. He shattered expectations again stamina. From experience, touches reverent. Months later pregnancy news. Joy crashed against fear. What if past condition? "We love them whole." Daughter born healthy Ray Magnolia Grant. Family complete, nonprofit grew centers across South. Elijah's designs healing thousands. Trial success years added. Life reclaimed, love won scars and all. Treatment fought. Life reclaimed. What would you sacrifice for love? Comment.